Hey there, welcome in. We are going to look at the energies of the new moon coming up on this Sunday, August 4th, 2024. It's a new moon in Leo, and I do have to say it's my daughter's birthday, so on Sunday. So happy birthday, Keely. You probably won't watch this video, but I'm going to tell you happy birthday anyway. But welcome in. So we're going to look at the crystals that I thought would be helpful for this new moon, and then also just the message that's coming up from Spirit. I'll read that, and then I have some questions. We'll pull some cards on that. So that's kind of that's what we're doing. So thanks for being here and welcome in. So like I said, the new moon, it's this Sunday. And I will say this new moon feels like major transformation energy, a transition type of an energy for sure. But what I find interesting is it feels almost, and I know, so today is, what is today? Thursday. It's August 1st. Happy Llamas today. It's August 1st. So maybe as we get closer to the new moon, it will feel more like a new moon, but right now the energy feels more like a full moon type of an energy. So very intense, really powerful. And for whatever reason, this new moon it really has my attention. I feel like it's going to be a really powerful new moon if you allow yourself to kind of relax and go with the flow of it. I think it will be a really powerful new moon. So the numerology of this moon is 20. I find it interesting, if I did my math right. June's new moon was a 20. July's new moon was a 20. This new moon is a 20. September's will be a 20. And then October is the next new moon that I find really interesting, because it feels like all of these new moons leading up to October are preparing us for a big shift. And October's new moon is a 17, and that's like the star in the tarot card, if you're familiar with the tarot card. So it's almost like we're preparing ourselves for a deepening of our alignment to our true self. It also feels like more of our if we're doing the work during these new moons, it feels like come October, more of our talents and gifts will be, I don't want to say brought out, but maybe a little more defined, or, I mean, it could be they come out. Maybe there's some hidden talents that are going to be revealed that will reveal themselves around October. I don't know. It just feels like there's a bigger shift of energy come October if we've been working the energy through these new moons. I love to work with new moons. It's definitely my favorite over full moons. Full moons are gorgeous. I love full moons as well. But I feel like the really deep work happens at the new moons. And so that's why we're focusing on the new moon. So, and if I didn't introduce myself, hi, I'm Heather. Thanks for being here. So 20, and I know I've talked about it a lot, so I won't go into it a whole lot, but 20 in color therapy is magenta and copper. Magenta is the bridge between where we were, where we want to be, where we currently are, to a higher realm. Magenta is a mix between like red and purple. So it's material world mixed in with the higher realms. So it's a really magical, grounded color to work with. And I know I've talked about that before, so I won't go into it a whole lot. But I just think it's interesting that we've had so many new moons with the similar energy of that magenta, embracing where you are, who you are, and then aspiring to lift yourself higher into the higher realms, connecting with your higher self, letting your ego kind of fall aside, stepping into who you came here to be, that type of energy. I find that very interesting. And copper, I know Metatron's brought that up in several videos, and I believe it might have been brought up in the New Year video. I can't remember, and I didn't go back and watch it, but I know Metatron's brought up copper several times. Copper is a wonderful metal to work with for healing and for moving energy. It also really helps to ease fatigue, physical discomfort. It moves energy. And that's kind of the name of the game, is constantly moving your energy, adapting. It's a change of mind, changing your mindset. Anytime that we stay stuck or stagnant, you can't really grow and you can't really move forward. So copper is really good at helping to keep that energy moving. Also, opening up your mind to new ideas and not getting stuck in one particular way of thinking, or thinking that you know everything there is to know. One thing that I really enjoy with every session I do, I learn something new. I learn something new about obviously someone else, but I also learn something new about myself. So it's really interesting. So just keep an open mind. And always and question things, keep an open mind, be curious. That's how, well, it keeps you young too, I believe. So work with copper. I know I kind of went off on a little tangent there, but copper is fantastic to work with. Another thing you can do with copper, and this is something one of my mentors, Marty Rawson, if you guys, any of you know Marty, you know he's a fantastic guy, but he's also an Ayurvedic teacher, and one of the things that he taught me is get a copper mug, a copper cup. Make sure it's like real copper. There's a lot of copper mugs out there that are advertised as copper, but they're not. So make sure it's a copper mug. Pour water into it, good quality water, and let it sit overnight, and then drink that water in the morning. That's what I do. And you'll know, you can taste the copper in it. So that's really good to drink that water. I think the cup's like a 16-ounce cup of water. Again, I let it sit all night, and then I drink it in the morning. If you have cats, you might want to cover your water, because your cats might drink out of it, if your cats are similar to mine. So that's a great way of getting copper into your body, working with copper. Also, any copper-bearing minerals would be fantastic to work with. So chrysocolla, malacolla, malachite. What are some of the other ones? Azurite. Any of the copper-bearing minerals are fantastic to work with. Or if you just have copper, just work with copper. So I'm going to go ahead and read what Spirit said about this new moon, and then there's some questions, and I'll pull some cards on those questions, and we'll just see how we go. So it's time to embrace the stubborn parts of you, the parts of you that aren't ready to change and move forward. This doesn't mean you stop working at your shortcomings. It means you stop waiting for perfection. Take action, take steps towards your goals and dreams. Refinement will happen along the way. Accept yourself as you are and move forward. And the question Spirit wanted us to look at, and these could be journal prompts, or maybe even on Sunday, take some time to maybe meditate or journal and think about these 3 questions. So the questions presented are: what are you waiting for? Why aren't you taking action? And what are you afraid of? So those are the questions we're going to look at today. I thought it would be fun just to do a collective card pull and see what's going on collectively with our group here. But really taking action, not waiting for perfection. Refinement comes along the way. And I really love that. So let's go ahead and I pulled some flower cards too, but I want to see how they work into these cards. So I'm going to go ahead and pull some tarot cards, and we're going to look at what are we waiting for? Why aren't you taking action? And what are you afraid of? I know what that is for me. But let's see what's going on just collectively for the YouTube collective here. And thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate your support. I'm using a deck that was speaking to me, but I'll be honest, this is a hard deck for me to read. I don't know why. There we go, right side up. I don't know why this deck is hard for me, but I just haven't fully bonded with it. Do you guys have tarot decks you just haven't fully bonded with? So I'm going to use this deck, and I've got my backup deck here if I just struggle with it. So let's pull some cards and look at what are we waiting for. And then I'll talk about the crystals and the messages that came through with those. Okay. So let me set this stuff aside. So what are we waiting for? Okay, I'm not going to set my papers right there. I have a fan. Hopefully that's not super loud here. I'm going to stick in here. But it's so hot up here. Okay, what are we waiting for? And this deck's kind of hard to shuffle. What are we waiting for? But I think it's like the animals on this card on these cards that are wanting to speak to us. So, which fits in with the crystals when we get to that point. All right, so what are we waiting for? We have the Knight of Wands, and I believe this is a badger. Knight of Wands. It's interesting because wands are action cards. It's almost like we're waiting for that aha moment to take action. Yeah, what are you waiting for? It's almost like we're waiting for, I don't know, like a grand moment, or like some specific sign, or maybe it's a particular like inspiration, or maybe we have gotten really narrow in our thinking and in our sight. So it's like we're focused on a particular project or a particular outcome or a particular way of feeling, and we're waiting for alignment with that. That's kind of what this feels like. I'm going to pull another card, and I also want to see, is this a badger? Knight of Wands. Maybe that's part of the reason why I haven't bonded with this deck, is because I'm not super familiar with all of the animals on these cards. Knight of Wands. Oh, it's a Wolverine. It's a Wolverine. It says fearless, aggression, defensive, creative, and tenacity. Maybe it's just the lack of motivation. What are we waiting for? Maybe we're waiting for that motivation, but I feel like we've set our sights in a really narrow way. So I feel like we kind of have tunnel vision going on. But let's ask the other questions and see what we get. So why aren't you taking action? I feel like it's going to be similar. Why aren't we taking action? Because we're waiting for some profound thing to happen. So Spirit is saying we're waiting for everything to fall into place. This goes back to that perfection. We're waiting for, we're too focused on perfection, and we're wanting all of the pieces to fall in place before we take action. And that's not how it works. But let's pull another card here. Why aren't you taking action? That's the question. Why aren't you taking action? Okay, well, I don't need half the deck. Let's just do one card, and then I want to see if it ties in with the flower cards that I pulled, because I pulled those before in preparation of this video, just to kind of get a feel for what Spirit wanted to talk about. Why aren't we taking action? We've got two cards. Ooh, I love this one. So we have Judgment. This card's been coming up a lot for me. For any of you out there that pull tarot on a regular basis, is there a particular tarot card that you've been getting recently? I'd love to hear, because this one, Judgment, has been coming up for me a lot. So we have the Wolverine, we have the Knight of Wands, and then we have Judgment, and we have the Four of Pentacles. I love this one. It looks like fox and bunnies and some little birds on here, but I'm really focused on the fox and bunnies. Four of Pentacles. So why haven't we been taking action? And it's almost like a feeling of, you know, we don't want to be disappointed. I feel like this goes back into the perfection thing. So maybe for a lot of us here, perfection, wanting to do everything perfectly the first time, the fear of being judged could be a part of why we aren't taking action. So what I'm hearing with this card, with the Four of Pentacles, it's a fear of releasing. It's a fear of letting go. It's a fear of letting go of who we thought we were, of who we were convinced that we were. Especially, I think, if you are, I would say, if you haven't really been working on yourself, and, you know, maybe you're, I don't know, a good portion, you're maybe halfway through your life, or a good chunk of your life, you've lived it holding on to this idea of who you think that you are, and then realizing that that is not, that's an aspect of who you are, or that's an aspect of who you used to be, and then seeing that for what it is and releasing that, or coming to terms with that, or coming to grips with that, could be very confronting, or even kind of depressing, because we do have the shedding of skin here, evolving, moving forward, allowing ourselves to grow. And I'm hearing this is where the forgiveness part comes in. And one of the cards I pulled was forgiveness. So what I'm hearing Metatron say is this is where the forgiveness part comes in, and that can be really tough. So we'll see where we go with that. But yeah, the Four of Pentacles, releasing and letting go of who you think that you are. So definitely a lot of, it really does feel like tunnel vision, thinking that you know what you came here to do. And maybe one time you were really confident in who you thought you were and why you came here, but now it's changing and it's growing, and we should always be changing and growing, and our desires and our wants and needs and all of that should constantly be changing. Otherwise you're stagnant, and no growth comes from that, and we become very complacent, and sometimes that can feel like that's a really safe place to be, because it's like the devil, you know. But that's also where a lot of depression sets in, apathy. I'm actually hearing physical pain. This is where physical pain often steps in, is when we just become very stuck in who we think that we are. That very much that tunnel vision. What are we afraid of? I feel like all of these cards are definitely kind of answering the same thing. You know, we're afraid of growth, we're afraid of change, but let's see what the card says. We're afraid of confronting pain, like emotional pain, as well as physical pain. It feels like there's just a really big, it feels like a really big weight, but it's almost like what I'm seeing is like a weighted blanket of other people's dramas, other people's crap that you've just taken on. And they're showing me that as a weighted blanket, we're holding this over us. And it's time to release that. And that's where the forgiveness part comes in. And forgiveness is very freeing. I can assure you that. As somebody that has really liked to hold on to their rage, because I am definitely a person that can be very rageful, I can tell you firsthand, forgiving and letting that go, it's so empowering, and it really does lightens the load a lot. So the Chariot. So we got the Chariot, but it's the Chariot in reverse. So what are you afraid of? Interesting. So Chariot in reverse, and this is supposed to be. There's lots of chickens on here and a heart. What is this little dude? I can tell you what this is. This is the fear of things really taking off for you. This is the fear of being seen. This is the fear of making changes and the universe giving you what you deeply desire. And that's very scary for some people. I know I often sometimes that can be a fear of mine. My whole kind of, I don't want to say goal in life, but this has definitely been a protection thing for me. It's been, don't be seen, don't be heard, just kind of like stay under the, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. Well, basically just like stay down. Stay, shoot, there's a word. I can't think of it. But that's kind of been my protection thing, because the less people see you, the less people know about you, the less bullshit's going to come your way. Like, that's kind of been my take on things. So doing this type of work has definitely been very confronting, and it's been very, pushing me out of my comfort zone constantly, honestly. And it's been really great for me, and beautiful things have come about. And then but I constantly have those moments where I'm like, oh my God, but I'm getting things that I wanted. Things are going my way more and more. And that could be it's kind of off-putting. It's a little scary. The universe is not predictable, but that doesn't mean that beautiful things can't come from that unknowing place. So I think that's really interesting. So let me pull up. I just want to see what this little guy is. Is it a skunk? It kind of looks like a skunk, but maybe this is why, again, this is probably why I haven't fully bonded with this deck. It's a honey badger. I was thinking a badger. So we have a badger and we have a wolverine. We have some semi-aggressive energies here. Well, I mean, snakes can be aggressive as well. Interesting. Okay, so honey badger, grit, focus, independence, and healing. That wolverine and badger energy feels very profound, and both those are the energies kind of bookending this. So really, we're afraid to take action because we're afraid of change. We're afraid of seeing who we truly are. We're afraid of really embracing our gifts. We're afraid of opening up to others. We're afraid of evolving. And then there's also that aspect of some of the hard work that comes in, like, the forgiveness part. That can be very confronting to people as well. And that's very interesting, because I feel like the Knight of Wands is encouraging that opening. Just being open, not being so constricted, or it's almost like we're holding ourselves down. and this new moon is inviting us to open up. It's almost like the energy of this moon is going to help pull these energies out a little more. So let me show you the flower energies that I pulled, because they're going really nicely with these cards. So I pulled a crocus. It says opening, and I'll read to you what the card says. Crocus is one of the first flowers to appear in the spring. She is gently reminding you to be open to the beauty and softness of the world. And if you are to see that beauty and the softness of the world, I feel like if you're someone that has a lot of trauma or has had a lot of confronting experiences throughout your life, particularly I'm hearing in childhood, you're not going to see the world or the universe as soft. That's not going to be your experience. So to consider being vulnerable and opening up to what might seem like a really harsh world could be very frightful. But we're being reminded that the world can be very soft. It's beautiful, and there's softness here. So even though it may seem harsh and inhospitable at times, trust in the process. Open and accept the possibility that there is love and magic surrounding you always. And I feel like with that magenta energy too, it's also a reminder that the heavenly realms are right here with us. It's layered on top of us. We have full access to that. We're not here alone, so we can tap into that. We can be fully present in our body, fully present in this world, and then also tap into the angelic realms and these higher realms for support. And you'll notice with these next two cards, the purple really stands out, and that purple lilac color, to me, is always an invitation to invite magic into your life, to invite spirit into your life, to invite in the angelic realm. So be open to being open. The next is the purple poppy. It says evolution. And I'm really feeling like with this card, come October, the October new moon, I do feel like that's going to be a really big shift. And I don't feel like you really have to do a whole lot. It's more of like, this feels more like a mindset change and being open to other possibilities, not thinking that you have it all figured out. So this card says purple poppy helps align your physical self with your soul purpose and your higher self. When your foundations are rocking and your entire being is evolving, purple poppy helps to support deep levels of integration, connection, and rest. Wherever you land, she will help you adapt and find the beauty in the process. I love that. And I feel, and these cards do go really well. So I'm really feeling this card, the purple poppy, with the evolution, with the judgment card. So really getting to know yourself, asking yourself, or just standing back and looking at how far you've come, where you've come from, where you are now, where you want to go. And it's judgment can be, some people see it as kind of a harsh card. I see it more as like celebration, like giving yourself a pat on the back for still being here and for doing the work and for stepping up. And then it's like, okay, and now what? So you're constantly, you come to a threshold, and then you appreciate that moment, and then you ask the question, and what now? What's next? You don't get comfortable in one spot. You keep going. So I really feel this evolution with the Judgment card, and also the Four of Pentacles. And it's interesting that there's the fox with the bunnies, but it's curiosity. It is being open to the softness that the crocus card was talking about. But also, what do I need to leave behind? What can't go with me? So I feel like that's I love this evolution card. I feel like that goes really well with the Judgment and the Pentacles. And then the third card that came up, and again, you'll notice the purple that really stood out to me. And this card is Milk Thistle for forgiveness. It says, life has taught you to protect yourself, but sometimes you end up hurting yourself. Milk Thistle helps you to let go through the power of forgiveness. Through the power of forgiveness of all the self-imposed restrictions and defensive armor that are making it hard for you to open and receive all the love and abundance the universe has flowing towards you. So, and I love this. So that goes right along with that weighted blanket. These are self-imposed restrictions, and quite often, why forgiveness is important is forgiveness frees you. It doesn't free the other person, has nothing to do with the other person. It's all about you freeing yourself. Quite often we get so bogged down by, and this is what I've noticed with my own past, and then also in doing sessions with people get so bogged down on remembering who they need to hate, remembering all the things that were done to them, all of the ways people have screwed them over or screwed up their lives. They get so bogged down by all of that heavy, dense energy and dense thinking. There's no way that they can embrace their authentic self or embrace who they came here to be, because it's so clouded with all of that dense, energies of hate. So that's, allowing that, letting that go. And it's not going to happen all at once, but, the easier things, let go of the easier things. Try to just soften up a little bit. And I really feel like this new moon is going to help us with that energy. So really beautiful. So yeah, letting go of the perfectionism. It doesn't have to all look great. And that's one that I've always really kind of struggled with, because it's like, no, I've got to learn how to do this, this, and this before I can get started on anything. And that's not true. So letting go of that perfection energy, releasing your past and realizing that you're not the same person that you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago. You're not the same person that you were yesterday. So we're constantly changing and evolving. Let go of that false sense of who you are. Don't get stuck in a certain, persona or way of being, because you're constantly evolving and changing, and there's nothing wrong with that. Our egos really like us to stay stuck. Maybe I'll explore the Wolverine. Oh, that could be another fun video, huh? Maybe we can explore the energy of Wolverine and Badger in another video. I was thinking about doing that here, but the video is getting kind of long and I'm kind of hungry. So I think another video on that would be really great. So let's look at the crystals that I think would be helpful. And I'm trying not to bump the mic. Hopefully I've not bumped the mic. And thanks for being here. Okay, so I went over that. I did that. Okay. So when I was tapping into the energies of the new moon, the first thing I saw in my mind, and I meant to, I've got some. The first thing I saw was Ethiopian opal. All opals are about transformation and change. I love Ethiopian opals because they have the energy of like the phoenix, the rising from the ashes type of an energy. And so that's what I saw in my mind. So this new moon definitely has the energy of rising from the ashes. It's again that transformation energy, being embracing your authentic self. I don't know how well this will show up, but if you have Ethiopian opals, they're so pretty. It's the rainbow of colors. I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera, but it's really gorgeous. So Ethiopian opals or any type of opal would be great to work with on this new moon. The other crystals that came up We're amber, which I absolutely love. I think I do have some amber on our website, heathershealingllc.com. In case you didn't know, I do sell crystals online. I think I have some amber. Oh, go check it out. But amber, I love that one. And I really was feeling that with this Leo new moon, because when you think about Leo, it's lion energy. It is being very authentic, being very open, being very confident with who you are, and allowing your light to shine, not being afraid to let your light shine. That's the Leo energy. So I love the amber one, the color. When I think of Leo, I think of lion, I think of sun, because we are celebrating the sun this time of year. It is, especially today, because it's Llamas today. We're celebrating the sun. So orange, yellow, I think of that really warm orange color, yellow color of the sun. And I love the amber stepped up, bringing in grounding, protection. I love amber for protection, especially against psychic attack. I think it works really well at that. I was reading somewhere else that someone was mentioning, it wasn't EMF, it was electromagnetic energy or something, that amber's really good for that. And amber also attracts love. And I think what's interesting about the cards that came up, and Spirit's message about letting the stubborn parts of you go, it's that softening of the energy, and amber attracting in love. Love is a soft energy. It's not a harsh energy. And if you view love in a harsh way, you've not experienced love, because that's not the energy of love. Is very powerful, but there's a softness there too. And I love that amber brings that energy in. The other crystal that stepped up was moss agate, which is one of my favorites if you've been around me for a while. So moss agate, elemental connection. I feel like this new moon will be really powerful for connecting with the elementals. So connecting with the Fae realm, working with dragon is always great, if that's something you resonate with. But the Fae realm has been, well, it's always been a big part of my life. Fairies, I sense them, see them, I have my whole life. But really connecting with those elemental energies, earth energies, the ley lines of the planet, being outside, listening to nature, hearing what messages she has for you. So I do feel like the elementals are really inviting us in and asking us to work with them in a more direct and powerful way, meaning communicate with them. If you're open to it, invite them in. And then also, elemental energies are working with the directions: east, south, west, north, air, fire, water, and earth. Bringing all of those elements and directions in creates a lot of balance, and they each have qualities unique to them. So working with all of those energies would be really fantastic. And moss agate invites in that energy as well. So it's earth connection, hearing Gaia's message to you. Of course, going outside makes it much easier to tap into those energies, being around dirt, grass, trees, rocks. I find a lot of fairies, especially around this area. I find a lot of fairies around rocks. So there you go. And then Labradorite, which is, a classic new moon stone. I wasn't going to pick it because it's so predictable, but it kept coming up. But the message that Labradorite wanted to bring in is go deep into the void of you, embrace the liminal space, allowing yourself to sit with yourself in silence and darkness. And the image that I got was, I don't know if you guys ever sit in meditation with like a veil on, like a literal veil. I have some over here. I don't know if you can see them, like linens or a lightweight blanket or scarf. Like put it over your head and sit in darkness and I don't know what it is about that, but it helps to shut off a lot of your senses. And it's, I don't know. I don't know if it's because your face is covered or what it is, but it definitely helps you to go deeper into yourself, deeper into your meditations, to meet yourself in that liminal space, like in that void space. Labradorite's also kind of a deep blue. That deep, like cobalt blue energy reminds me of liminal space, which is space. It's neither here nor there. It's the in between place. You're not where you were, but you're not where you're going yet. And you might not know what direction to take. It's that liminal space where you could really learn a lot about yourself because you're open to it. You are, because you have no sense of direction, you're open to whatever spirit brings to you. But something about having that veil over really does help to deepen that meditation and help get you into the energy of liminal space. So maybe play around with that this weekend. That's super fun. Also, if you have a hard time meditating, that's another little trick that might be helpful. And it's more than just sitting in dark. You can sit in a dark room, but when you put the veil over your head, it's a totally different experience. Try it and tell me what you think. So yeah, so I think those are all the crystals that I wanted to bring up. Amber, labradorite, moss agate, Ethiopian opals, all of those would be fantastic to work with. I'm also hearing hessonite garnet. That's what this necklace is. If you have hessonite garnet, I would work with that. Copper, magenta, purples and blues, of course, would be fantastic. And don't be afraid of yourself. Don't be afraid of stepping out of your comfort zone, embracing who you are at this stage and phase of your life. I do feel like it's going to be a really magical new moon. So if you can, make time for yourself to just sit in silence with nothing going on and ask yourself some questions. Why are you afraid to move forward? Let's see. 3 journal prompts. What are you waiting for? Why aren't you taking action? And what are you afraid of? And then maybe I'll come back and do a video on the energy of Wolverine and badger, honey badger. You know what's interesting too is when I was writing the notes for this, I kept seeing badger. And I guess that's probably why I thought the Wolverine dude was a badger, because it was just like on my mind. So badger seems, we'll do a video on that. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it. I would appreciate it. And also, if you have any ideas for videos that you'd like me to do, you know, let me know in the comments. Is there a subject that you'd like me to look into, an energy, nothing personal to you, but something that collectively would be helpful? Let me know. I'm open to doing that, and hopefully I didn't forget anything. Have a wonderful new moon, and again, happy Lammas. Take care of yourself. And and the 35% off coupon ends Monday. Code SUMMER. All right, take care. We'll talk to you soon.